So, no, I wouldn't say I have a passion for HR.
Welcome back to Human Resources for the People. It's a human capital revolution. Today we're going to be talking about the response to the pay up legislation that came out of the Seattle City Council. They passed the first piece of legislation in 2022, which it guaranteed app-based delivery drivers a minimum wage. And the Public Safety and Human Services Committee is considering more legislation to protect workers from unfairly having their accounts deactivated. But right now we're going to focus on the legislation, what happened, and where we're at today. So in the legislation, they cited DoorDash's reported revenue of $4.89 billion in 2021. Uber Eats got $5.8 billion in revenue for fourth quarter, but anyone who knows these companies, and I'd have to go look, I think Uber has finally made a profit, but DoorDash is, still trying to make its money back. The question is, will ever make money? And of course, Seattle City Council has not considered that fact, only that revenue is coming through and that, they might IPO, et cetera, et cetera. So they're looking at a per minute amount that they're engaged, times the engaged minutes plus the per mile amount, and engaged miles equals the minimum payment. And so they've allowed, the idea is to provide workers with information needed to make informed choices. And the Seattle City Council lauded this. They said, finally, while many app-based workers are making less than minimum wage, they're making record profits. They need respect and protections that every other worker in Seattle is afforded. So they passed. Lisa Herbold and Andrew Lewis were the council members who sponsored it. Be sure, if you're aware of this and you're a voter in Seattle, that you're aware of who sponsored this legislation. About 3 weeks ago, this new law went into effect, and they are seeing the dividends now. So DoorDash says that Dashers in Seattle will earn about $26.40 an hour before tips plus mileage. But you had arguments against it, like Jacqueline Wagner, who's the director of operations at Baka Bak Fried Chicken. They said the greatest concern on the restaurant side is just more fees. This particular fee is to help benefit the drivers who 100% deserve a living wage. But they said local restaurants like mine and so many others rely on gig workers and rely on third-party apps, and additional fees like this could potentially harm our business. We don't really know until it starts happening. Well, again, we found out about 3 weeks later on, when Uber said, for example, that it will double the fees that consumers will have to pay, which means fewer orders for businesses and less opportunities for delivery workers. So fast forwarding today, longtime app-based food delivery driver Gary Lardizabal said that what used to be considered hotspots for workers on these apps feel a little colder since January 13th. App-based delivery driver Mia Shagan said her delivery opportunities have been slashed. She's got nothing. She said she's not going to sit there for hours for one freaking order. In addition came greater competition from others. Lardizabal said that everybody in cars, planes, trains, automobiles, mopeds are converging on the city. We're grinding, and we are for real not getting $26 an hour. So they're not seeing the money that said that they came back. One driver said that he made on the week last year, in January of last year, $931, but he made half that this year. DoorDash and Uber Eats are adding a $5 fee on top of their already significant fees. If anyone has ever ordered from DoorDash or Uber Eats, they know how much those fees are. Well, they added an extra $5 on top of it, skyrocketing the fees in that area. The mayor of Seattle has lauded the implementation of the law, saying that it's critical to Seattle's economy. And this ultimately highlights the problem with these sort of intentions surrounding raising minimum wage, raising specific standards, is that the consumer ultimately receives these higher costs, and they're just passed down to the consumer. And so it is typically, it's one of those things where businesses can't simply take the newfound costs that are passed to them. They will pass them elsewhere. And that is unfortunately the nature of a lot of intervention in the marketplace, specifically around labor law. It doesn't really long term support any workers. In fact, it just hurts them, or moves it down so that someone else is spending more money. And until you sort of get to the angle, to the point where you're actually holding the businesses accountable, which I'm not sure is possible, that there's always negative externalities that are always passed on. That's the only way that this will ever change. Let me know. Are you in Seattle? Have you seen this app hurt these new changes hurt delivery workers? Let me know in the comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye, guys.